Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
to the revision class. So today we are going to do a revision for object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is something related to coding, and we need to understand some code concept, theories, practicals in this module. So we already completed all those things, and we covered theories and practicals. For your final exam also, it's like 50% from theories, and the rest of the rest 50% will cover the practical part. For practicals, no need to do no need to type codes in the Notepad++ and get the output and give those things as evidence. So what you have to do is you have to write the code and give it to the uh, examination people. So usually I think you all are doing like you are writing answers on a paper. So in that way you can write codes and you can submit them. So that is how we usually do practicals for these kind of uh, subjects. Let me share the screen. Right. So first of all, I will quickly take you through a small revision. I will take lesson by lesson, and I will do a revision first, and then I will discuss about the paper. With that, I will do some practical questions with you, because for the final exam paper, there are some practical things to clarify. So we already did those things, but I need to again refresh your knowledge regarding all practical sessions, which I focus for the final exam. So let me share the very first yeah. So this is what we discussed in the very first day. So we started the unit and we discussed about evaluation of programming. So when it comes to evaluation, I have discussed three generations: generation 1, generation 2, and generation 3. So here, when it comes to three generations, the only thing you should focus is what happened in each generation. For an example, in first generation, it was the period this programming introduced to the world. So they wanted to develop this computer programming because they wanted to give some instructions to computer, and they wanted to do some task from the computer. To do that, they wanted to develop this programming. So the initial idea or the initial thing happened in this first generation. So in the first generation, we didn't have any translators. So what do you mean by translator? Usually nowadays we write English-like instructions. We use English-like instructions to communicate with computer. So those words are understandable. Even though we don't know the technical meaning, technical idea, we can understand the word. So we use if, else, switch, keywords. So those are very understandable because we use English-like language. But the problem is your computer is a machine. Your computer can't understand those words, and your computer doesn't know the meaning behind that. So as people, as users or software engineers, we need to convert our code into zeros and ones, because zeros and ones are the only thing your computer can understand. So whatever the instruction we give, at the end we need to convert it to zeros and ones. So that process we call as translation. So at the very beginning, we didn't have any translators. So we just type some instructions using machine language and we try to do a program with that. So those days we use machine language, no translators, everything very complicated. We have to use wires and all. And then when it comes to second generation, same thing happened. But they have introduced a new thing called assembly language. So assembly language is not a high level language. So it also a machine related language, but it is a little bit advanced than generation 1. So generation 3 we consider as the most important generation because new thing happens, new things introduced in this generation. So uh, the translators introduced in this era because they wanted to convert this English like instructions to zeros and ones. So here they wanted to use these translators. So if we have a translator from our side, we can use these English like instruction. From computer side, they can use zeros and ones because we have the translator for both parties. Without any issue, they can use their own thing to handle these computer programs. So those kind of introduced in this third generation. So that is the thing you should focus in this evaluation of programming. What happened in each generation? What happened to programming in each generation? දැන් මේ evaluation එක කියලා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම මොනවා හරි දෙයක history එක. ඒක පටන් ගත්තේ කොහොමද? අද වෙනකන් ඒක ආවේ කොහොමද කියන එක තමයි මෙතනදී ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට මේකෙදි මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට මට highlight කරන්න ඕනේ හැම ජෙනරේෂන් එකකම මොනවද වුනේ? දැන් එතනදී මම ගොඩාක් ජෙනරේෂන්ස් ගත්තේ නැහැ. දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා අපි සමහර තැන්වල IT ඉගෙන ගන්නකොට ජෙනරේෂන්ස් 4ක්, ජෙනරේෂන්ස් 5ක් ගන්නවා. මට එච්චර ලොකුවට ස්පෙસિෆයි කරන්න ඕන නැහැ. මොකද මට ඕන උනේ roughly මේ ජෙනරේෂන්ස් තුනේ මොනවද ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකට ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමින් වලට අලුතින් උනේ කියන එක ඔයාලට පෙන්වන්න විතරයි. එතකොට ඔයත් ඒ knowledge එක විතරක් ගත්තාම ඇති. මම ඇයි හැමතිස්සෙම මේ වගේ දේවල් highlight කරන්නේ? මොකද ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මම දැකලා තියෙනවා ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා වැඩකට නැති දේවල් තමයි focus කරන්නේ. දැන් මේ වගේ එක පණ දාගෙන පාඩම් කරනවා years. years කියන එක ලොකුවට මතක තියාගන්න ඕන දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි ඔයා ටීචර් කෙනෙක් නම් ඔයා තව කෙනෙක්ට උගන්වන්න නම් year එක දැනගන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි මම කියන්නේ exam එකක answers ලියන්නේ ඒ වගේ තැනකදී year එක ලොකුවට highlight වෙන්නේ නැහැ. සමහරු ඒ වගේ questions අහනවා. හැබැයි year එකක් මතක තියාගන්න එක හරිම critical. ඒ නිසා years ඕන නැහැ. ඔයාට මෙතන හැම year එකේම හැම generation එකේම programming වලට මොකද්ද උනේ කියන එක ඔලුවට දාගත්තම ඇති. දැන් අපි first generation එක ගත්තොත් ඒක නිකන් story එකක් වගේ ඔලුවට දාගන්න. මේක තමයි programming පටන් ගත්තම generation එක. ලොකු දෙයක් වුණ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ translators තිබුණ නැහැ. අපි computer එකත් එක්ක communicate කරනවා නම් computer එක දන්න භාෂාව තමයි අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න සිද්ධ වුනේ. computer එක දන්නේ machine language එක. අපි ඒකට zeros and ones කියලා කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ බිංදුව එක පාවිච්චි කළා තමයි හැම දේම අපි computer එකට කියන්න ඕනේ. example එකක් විදිහට ඔයාගේ නම ඔයා type කරන්න ඕන නම් ඔයාගේ නමට අදාළ 01 කෝඩ් එක හොයලා ඒක තමයි දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාගේ නම නෙමෙයි. ඒ වගේ සිටුේෂන් එකක් තමයි ෆස්ට් ජෙනරේෂන් එකේ තිබුණේ. සෙකන්ඩ් ජෙනරේෂන් එකත් ඒ විදියමයි. හැබැයි අලුතෙන් කියලා දෙයක් උනේ අර assembly language එක introduce කරා. ඔය assembler කියලා අලුත් එකක් introduce කරා. translate එකක් වගේ හැබැයි translate එකක් නෙවෙයි ඒක. ඒකට පුළුවන්කමක් තිබුණ නැහැ කිසිම language එකක් අර ක්‍රමයට convert කරන්න. third generation එක තමයි අපි අර golden era එක කියලා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන්නේ. මේකෙදි හැමදේම ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරා. අර 01 මෙතඩ් එක වෙනුවට මැෂින් ලැන්ග්වේජ් එක වෙනුවට මිනිස්සුන්ට තේරෙන ලැන්ග්වේජ් එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා මේ කෝඩින් කරන්න feasibility එක හම්බුණා. අපි ඒකට කියනවා high level languages කියලා. ඔය high level languages කියලා කියන්නේ අපිට තේරුම් අරගෙන පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් languages. Java, Python, PHP ඕවා ඔක්කොම high level languages. එතකොට මේ high level languages වල තියෙන වැදගත්කම තමයි ඒවා අපිට කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් ලියන්න පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අපි කන්ෆියුස් වෙන්නේ නෑ මතක තියාගන්න ලේසි, යූස් කරන්න ලේසි, මොඩිෆයි කරන්න ලේසි, හැම දෙයකම ලේසි. අර ඒවට තමයි අපි high level languages කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් අපි පාවිච්චි කරපු Java කියන්නේ high level language එකක්. මොකද ඒක අපිටත් තේරෙනව හසුරවන්න, ආගේ කම්පියුටර් එකටත් ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. නිකම්ම තේරුම් ගන්න බෑ. අපි ඒක translate කරන්න ඕනේ. අපිට translate කරන්න facilities ආවෙත් මේ third generation එකෙන් පස්සේ. අපි communicate කරනකොට programs ලියනකොට English like instructions පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් වුණා. English like instructions කියන්නේ ඕන කෙනෙක්ට තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? And then we discuss about these things. Please go through these things. Grace Hopper, we consider as the person who introduced first compiler to the world. And then Simula 67 is the very first object-oriented programming language. And this is the person who invented it. And yes, James Gosling. So maybe this question is there in your final exam paper. Who is the father of Java? So father of Java is James Gosling. So James Gosling is the person who introduced this Java to the world. And then we have discussed about the basic two types of computer programming, unstructured programming and structured programming. The මේ computers මේ ලෝකෙට ආපු computers නෙමෙයි computer programming මේ ලෝකෙට ආපු මුල්ම කාලේ මේක ආවේ ක්‍රම දෙකකට. එකක් structured method අනිත් එක unstructured method. ඔය දෙකනොත් මුලින්ම ආවේ unstructured method එක. කිසිම structure එකක් නැහැ. කිසිම organization එකක් නැහැ. අපිට output එක ගන්න පුළුවන් ඕනම ක්‍රමයක් පාවිච්චි කරලා කෝඩ් එක ලියනවා. එකම line එක 60 සැරයක් ලියලා හරි output එක එනවනම් අපි ඒකට unstructured programming කියලා කියනවා. Because we don't have any structure there. But when it comes to structured programming, we follow a structure so we can nicely organize the code. So we have those features in structured programming. So after these two types, another thing came to the industry. It is object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming we use as a programming language when we specially give solutions to real-world issues. So if you need to take something from the real world and if you want to give something back to the real world, then we use object-oriented programming for that. So those are like types and these things came into the subject time to time, right? So do you have anything to clarify from lesson 1, the introduction? No, right. So let me upload the PPT into chat. Up to day 3, I have uploaded PPTs to the chat. Right. Let me start sharing day 2. So this is day 2. So in day 2, actually, we discussed about a very important concept. For your final exam, definitely some theory questions there from this lesson, because here we discuss the major principles, components in object-oriented programming. So first of all, we discuss what is object-oriented programming. So if someone asks you what is object-oriented programming, you should be able to understand it as it is where we give solutions to real world issues. If you want to do a software program or computing related things to address a real world issue, then definitely you should go with object oriented programming. අපි හැමතිස්සෙම මේ real world issues වලට address කරනවා නම් ඒවට solutions දෙනවා නම් අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ object oriented programming. මේ object oriented programming කියන්නේ එක programming type එකක්. අපි ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට රියලිස්ටික් දේවල් කරනකොට. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට අර ඇත්තම දෙයක් software එකකට implement කරනකොට for an example I can take the bank. දැන් බෑන්ක් එකෙන් කරන හැම දෙයක්ම ඔයා ෆිසිකලි බෑන්ක් එකට ගිහිල්ලා කරන හැම දෙයක්ම ඔයාට අර ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඇප් එකෙන් කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒක ඩිවලොප් කරනකොට ෆිසිකල් බෑන්ක් එක තමයි ওই කම්පියුටර් එක ඇතුළට ෆෝන් එක ඇතුළට ගන්න ඇප් එකක් විදියට. ඒ හැම දෙයක්ම ඒ විදියටම වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔන්න ඔය concept එක develop කරන්න object oriented programming කියන concept එක develop කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? So wherever you want to do this kind of thing, if you want to take real world thing into a computer or smartphone, then definitely you should use this type. It is object oriented programming. So I have discussed about all those things, all 4 pillars. So pillars are the principles. දැන් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නේ science වල තියෙනවා principles, theories. ඒ වගේ මේ object oriented concept එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ මේ හතරෙන්. මෙන්න මේ හතර තමයි object oriented concept එකේ තියෙන ප්‍රධානම කණු හතර. අපි ඒකයි එකට කියන්නේ 4 pillars of object oriented programming කියලා. එතකොට ඒ principles හතර pillars හතර තමයි abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. දැන් කවුරු හරි අහුවොත් abstraction කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා abstraction කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි abstract කරගන්නවා කියන්නේ ඕකේ සිංහල වචනේ අර absorb කරගන්නවා කියන එකනේ අර උරා ගන්නවා කියන එකනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳම ටික තමයි absorb කරගන්නේ. ඒ වගේ මේ abstraction කියලා කියන්නේ එතනදි පෙන්වන්නේ හොඳම ටික විතරයි එළියට. අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් ඔක්කොම ඇතුලෙන් තමයි තියන් ඉන්නේ. The act of representing essential features without including the background details. අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් මේක ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරේ කොහොමද මේක ගත්තේ කොහොමද මේක ඇතුළේ තියෙන data මොන වගේද ඔයවා ඔක්කොම අපි හංගලා අවශ්‍යම දේවල් ටික විතරයි එළියට දෙන්නේ. දැන් මේකට මට ගන්න පුළුවන් example එකක් තමයි ඔයාලට මතකද අපි user inputs handle කරා. user ගෙන් inputs ගත්තා. දැන් ඔයාට user ගෙන් inputs ගන්න ඕන නම් ඔයා call කරන්න ඕනේ package එකක්. ඔයා import කරන්න ඕනේ package එකක්. ඔයා import කරන්න ඕනේ package එක තමයි scanner. දැන් scanner කියන්නේ ළමයි ඒක develop කරන්න lines 1000ක් විතර ලියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් මේ Java කියන programming එක introduce කරපු අය ඔය package එක හදන්න user ගෙන් input ගන්න ඒ ඔක්කොම කරන්න lines 1000ක විතර ලොකු code එකක් ලියලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක පෙන්වන්න නැතුව ඒ ඔක්කොම hide කරලා අර scanner කියන class එක library එක විතරක් ඔයාට call කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔයා දන්නේ ඒක call කරාම user ගෙන් input ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒක ඇතුලේ ගොඩාක් codes ගොඩාක් executions තියෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ දෙයකට තමයි අපි abstraction කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි represent කරන්නේ අවශ්‍යම දේවල් විතරයි. අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් ඔක්කොම අපි hide කරගෙන ඉන්නේ. Encapsulation. දැන් encapsulation එක මතක තියාගන්න ලේසිම ක්‍රමේ තමයි අපි ගන්න බෙහෙත් capsules. ඒවත් capsules නේ. දැන් බෙහෙත් capsule එක කියන්නේ ඒක cover වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක ඇතුලේ තමයි බෙහෙත් තියෙන්නේ. ඔන්න ඕක තමයි අපි technically encapsulation කියලා කියන්නේ. මෙතන බෙහෙත් ගැන නෙමෙයි කතා කරන්නේ. මෙතන කතා කරන්නේ data methods. ඔයා දන්නවා data methods කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා? මොකද අපි ඒව ගැන ඩිස්කස් කරා. මේ එක තැනකට data methods ඔක්කොම එකට එකතු කරලා ඒක wrap කරන එක තමයි අපි encapsulation කියලා කියන්නේ. ඉන්හෙරිටන්ස් මතක තියාගන්න හොඳම දේ තමයි අපිට සමහර ෆීචර්ස් සමහර හැබිට්ස් එනවා අපේ අම්මලා තාත්තලාගෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි අපිට කලින් ජෙනරේෂන් එක. එයාලා අපේ පේරන්ට්ස්ලා. එයාලට කියනවා පේරන්ට් ජෙනරේෂන් කියලා. එතකොට පේරන්ට් ජෙනරේෂන් එකෙන් චයිල්ඩ් එයාලගේ ළමයිට එනවා එක එක දේවල්. ඔන්න ඕකට තමයි ඉන්හෙරිටන්ස් කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් අපි ඕක ටෙක්නිකල් විදියට තේරුම් ගත්තොත් කෝඩ් එකක් ඇතුලේ parent class, child class කියන ඒවා තියෙනවා. child class එකකට පුළුවන් parent කෙනෙක්ගේ features ඔක්කොම abstract කරගන්න. right? ඔන්න ඕක තමයි ඔතන තියෙන definition එක. Polymorphism කියන්නේ the ability of an object to exist in many forms. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔය සමහර වෙලාවට අපි එකම වෙලාවෙ වැඩ ගොඩක් කරන්නේ. දැන් ඔයා මේ lecture එක අහනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔය ටිකක් වෙලා ඉන්න ගමන් Facebook එකත් බලනවා. WhatsApp messages උත් බලනවා. එකපාර වැඩ ගොඩක් කරනවා. right? ඔන්න ඔය ability එක තමයි polymorphism කියලා කියන්නේ. හැමතිස්සෙම මේ වගේ ටිකක් complicated දේවල් මතක තියාගන්නකොට practical examples ගන්න. ඔයාට හොඳට මතක හිටින එක්සාම්පල් එකක් අරගෙන ඒක through මේ තියරි එක තේරුම් ගන්න. දැන් මේ කම්පියුටිං කියන්නේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමින් කියන්නේ මහා අමාරු දේවල් නෙමෙයි. එකම දේ ළමයි බයයි මේවා කරන්න. ඒගොල්ලෝ බයයි මේක අමාරුයි මේකට ගණන් ඕනේ මැත්ස් තියෙනවා මෙතන. එතකොට ලොකු ලොකු දේවල් සෝල්ව් කරන්න දෙනවා. නෑ එහෙම නෑ. මේක හරිම ලේසි ඕන කෙනෙක්ට ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් අපි කරන්න ඕනේ අපිට ලේසි වෙන විදිහට මේවා මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. කාටවත් පේන්නේ නැහැනේ අපි මතක තියාගන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. So that is the thing you should practice, right? So the four pillars of object oriented program. So then we have discussed about objects. We have discussed what are the things you should concern under objects. So you know what is object oriented programming now. Then I have taken these kind of examples. Then we discussed about classes. So class is something we can put similar objects together and we can prepare a class. For an example, එකම අවුරුද්දේ ඉපදිච්ච ළමයි තමයි අපි එක ක්ලාස් එකකට දාන්නේ. ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට ඒ ළමයි එකම උස මහත ඒ කියන්නේ එක වගේ එයාලාගේ අවුරුද්ද එයාලගේ NIC ඒවා ඔක්කොම එකම විදියනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ එකම ෆීචර්ස් තියෙන අය එකට එකතු කරලා එක ජාතිය අය එකට එකතු කරලා අපි එකට ක්ලාස් එකක් කියලා කියනවා. right? දැන් ඕක තමයි class කියන concept එක. A class is a category of group of things. Then when it comes to objects, object is one instance in that class. ඒ class එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්න එක සිදුවීමකට තමයි අපි object එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ. Right. So we have done this example. So this is how we show objects and classes using diagrams. And this is the difference between class and object. Definitely this will be there in your final exam because without this knowledge, no point of learning programming language, especially Java. Class and objects. And then we have methods. So in this particular code, you know, we need to do something. දැන් අපි codes ලියපු නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා අපි එක එක දේවල් කරා. මොනවද කරේ? අපි අපේ නම print කරලා බැලුවා. අපි පොඩි calculation එකක් print කරලා බැලුවා. එතකොට අපි comparisons කරා. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ දේවල් කරනවා. කරනවා කියන්නේ action එකක්. ඕනම දෙයක් අපි කරනවා නම් ඒක දාන්න ඕනේ method එකක් ඇතුලේ. right? ඒ නිසා අපිට methods තියෙනවා. අපිට දෙන ප්‍රධානම method එක තමයි main method එක. Right. Any questions from this? I already uploaded this into chat. No. Right. Mm. Let me share the next PPT. Someone asked me to share these PPTs in a WhatsApp group. Actually, I don't have access to your WhatsApp group. So what I can do is, usually that is how I do for other badges also. Once I finish the class, I will send all PPTs to your coordinator and then PPT send it to you. So during the revision also, I will share all those PPTs one by one, and I will share these things to your coordinator. Through coordinator, you can ask all these things. So here we introduced Java and we discussed a little bit about Java, the timeline, all these things. No need to go these things past these slides because I'm not going to test anything related to timeline, but definitely questions from features of Java there. So you need to understand these features of Java. So that is why we selected Java as a programming language to practice. So Java is very old programming language, but still in the market we use Java. Java කියන්නේ අර නැති වෙලා යන්නේ නැති programming language එකක්. ඒකට එක හේතුවක් තමයි ඒකේ තියෙන features. අනිත් එක තමයි Java develop කරන team එක continuously එක update කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ නිතරම බලනවා මාකට් රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස් මොන වගේද, මාකට් එකේ මොනවද වෙනස් වෙන්නේ, ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ මිනිස්සුන්ට තව මොනවද තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියනවා බලලා ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක ඉන්කෝපරේට් කරනවා. Right? So the very first feature is both compile and interpretation. So now I hope you know what is interpretation and compilation. So as I told you, we all use English-like instructions to communicate with the computer. So if you want to develop a software, even for do that also you should use um, a programming language. So now we have programming languages. Those are English-like instructions. දැන් අපි හැමෝම දන්නවා programming language එකක තියෙන වචන ඉංග්‍රීසි වචන. එතකොට ඔයාට ඕක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕන නම් ඔයා ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේට් එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාට වෙනස් කරන්න ඕන වෙන්නේ ඒක පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔයා ඉන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් එකක් දෙනකොට විතරයි. ඉතින් ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ? ඔයා ඒක පාවිච්චි කරලා ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේට් එකක් through ඒක කන්වර්ට් කරනවා. ඔයා ලියන කෝඩ්ස්, ඔයා ලියන වචන මේ ඔක්කොම අවසානයේ බිඳුව එකට කන්වර්ට් වෙනවා. So here to understand this compilation and interpretation, you should understand this process because this is really important. But now you know this thing because we already done some practicals. You know how to type a code, you know how to save that. So you have that awareness. So first of all, we should find a text editor. So why we should find a text editor? Because we need to type the code. So we need to have something to type the code. So what we use for that? We use Notepad++. So Notepad++ is the editor we use to type codes. And then we need to save it as a Java file because we need to convert our text file into a Java file because Java is the programming language we use. So we should have that understanding and we should have that capability to run Java programs. So we should convert our text code into a Java code. And then we need to do the conversion. So in conversion, we do two things. First, we convert our code into a bytecode. So bytecode is not the exact machine code. It is something before that. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔය දැන් මේ translate කරන process එකේදී ඇත්තටම steps දෙකක් තියෙනවා. පළවෙනිම step එක තමයි අපි ලියපු code එක අපි convert කරනවා byte code එකකට. byte code එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ machine language එක නෙමෙයි 0 1 method එක නෙමෙයි. byte code එක කියලා කියන්නේ අර නිකන් 0 1 එකයි human එකයි අතරමැද එකක් වගේ. එතකොට මුලින්ම කරන්නේ compilation එක. අපි compilation එකේදී ඒක කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට තියෙනවා interpretation එහෙම නැත්නම් translation. ඒකෙදී අපි කරන්නේ අර byte code එක 0 1 එකකට convert කරන එක. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට execute කරලා outputs බලන්න පුළුවන්. මේ තියෙන්නේ byte code එක. දැන් ඔයාලට පේනවා මේක නෙමෙයි අපි ලියන code එක. අපි ලියන්නේ මීට වඩා වෙනස්. ඒක තේරෙනවා. හැබැයි මේක ඊට වඩා ටිකක් වෙනස්. වචන කීපයක් විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. අපි මේකට byte code කියලා කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ එකපාර translate කරන්න අමාරු හින්දා තමයි මේක කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ මේක අපි compile කරාම 01 වලට convert වෙනවා. Second feature is platform independent and portability. ඒ කියන්නේ ඕනම platform එකක කිසිම issue එකක් නැතුව Java run කරන්න පුළුවන්. If you are using different operating system, different device, different platform, no matter, you can use Java within your environment. So it doesn't care about the operating system, the device, performance and all. Whatever the operating system, we can convert to this Java environment. So we called it as platform independent and portability. The third operating system is object-oriented because Java is object-oriented. So if it is object-oriented, we know it is easy to handle that and it is easy to convert real-world issues into practical solutions. And then I just wanted to take few examples. So you know we need to understand how implement all those things. Please go through that. I'm not going to waste time to explain those examples. The fourth feature is distributed. So what do you mean by distribution? You can develop these Java related applications and you can connect all these things together. We called it as distribution. And then robust and secure. So when it comes to robust, you know, it is very reliable and we can run it on any platform and it's secure. So when we use Java for development, so we can ensure the security. No one can access, no one can hack. So those features are there. Multi-threaded in the sense it can handle multiple tasks simultaneously. දැන් සමහර programming languages තියෙනවා එක පාරකට එක දෙයක් run කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒවා සමහර වෙලාවට disadvantage. මොකද queue එකේ ඉන්න ඕනේ ඉතුරු දේවල් කරගන්න. High performance. Still Java is high performance. It gives very speedy output, speedy coding patterns, everything very easy to well performs with this Java programming language. And then dynamic and extensible. So we can create new libraries, methods dynamically. So Java is very supportive programming language because we have some features, nice features from C and C++. C and C++ කියන්නේ ළමයි industry එකේ තියෙන leading programming languages. මොකද ඒවා ඉස්සර පරණ develop කරපු programming languages. හැබැයි තාමත් ඒවා performance හොඳටම හොඳයි. So then we discuss about Java and internet. So Java strongly associated with the internet application. Some people think that the Java would not work with internet, web browsers and all. No, we can use Java for web development too. And then we discuss about the popularity. Please go through this area as well. And then we have discussed the installation procedure. So regarding installation, I don't ask any question because it is not practical. You already done this installation and you know how to use all these things in a particular code. Right. So I already uploaded this one to the chat. Let me discuss. And then we have discussed another important lesson. It is regarding data types and variables. Right. දැන් අපි ගොඩක් මේක පාවිච්චි කරා. දැන් පාවිච්චි කරපු නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් codes ලියනකොට codes practice කරනකොට අපි data handle කරනවා. To handle all these data, we use something called data types and variables. So what you mean by data type? So data type is something we use to categorize data. So we need to categorize data. So according to the category, we use different names. We call those as data types, and we use all these things in our code. So we call it as variables. So no need to discuss the theory part. So we can quickly move to the way we do that. So if you want to use a particular data in your code, so what you need to do is you need to use a pattern to introduce it. So first of all, you should write the data type, and then you write the variable. So as the variable, you can give whatever the name you want, and then you can assign a value. So that is how we usually work with variables and data type. So if you want to take someone age as the input, then age, the value is the data we use, and we can give a variable like age, and then we need to understand the data type, and accordingly we will develop these things in our code. So here, when it comes to data types, basically these are the 4 frequently used data types in our codes. We have string values, and then we have char values, then we have integer, float, boolean. All these are very frequently used data types in the industry. So other than these things, We have some other data types called short, double, so those things also there. But we consider these as the most popular data type. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි codes ලියනකොට පාවිච්චි කරන වැඩිපුරම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ data types තමයි. තව තියෙනවා double, short ඒ වගේ ඒවා තියෙනවා. ඒවට වඩා වැඩිපුරම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ මේවා. ඒ නිසා මට focus කරන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ ටික. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ data types පහ refer කරන්න. මොකද MCQ questions මේ වලින් එන්න පුළුවන්. right. එතකොට string කියලා කියන්නේ පළවෙනිම data type එක. string කියලා කියන්නේ අපි වචන එක්ක එහෙම නැත්නම් එක අකුරකට වඩා වැඩි මොකක් හරි සිටුේෂන් එකක් නම් අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ ඒකට string කියන data type එක. ඔයාලට කාගේ හරි නමක් එන්ටර් කරන්න ඕන නම් එහෙම නැත්නම් කාගේ හරි address එකක් sentences paragraph ඔය වගේ දේවල් එක ගනුදෙනු කරනකොට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ string කියන data type එක. මම examples උත් දීලා තියෙනවා. hello world, alice 1 2 3 මේවා ඔක්කොම අපිට string data type එකේ examples විදිහට ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒවා වචන. ඒවාට තියෙන්නේ වචනයක්. දැන් 1 2 3 කියන එක අපි string එකක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් අපිට කිසිම වෙලාවක ඒක numeric value එක highlight කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාගේ code එක එයාගේ numeric value එක හිතන්නේ නැහැ. එයා නිකම්ම ඒක වචනයක් කියලා එක type කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. දැන් ඔතනදී ඔයා දැනගන්න ඕනේ ස්පෙෂල්ම දේ තමයි we use double quotations when we write string in a particular code. So that is like the iconic symbol for string, we use double quotation for that. And the next thing is character. So wherever you work with single characters, you use character or char as the data type, right? So if it is a capital word, capital letter, simple letter, symbol like dollar sign, hash, those kind of things, you can put under characters. So even though if it is a number, if you put it in between single quotations, we consider it as a character. So then it doesn't care about the numeric value. It just consider it as a letter. So that is what we call as characters. මේ characters කියන්නේ අපි හැමතිස්සෙම තනි අකුරක් import කරන්න ඕන. අද example එකක් විදිහට ඔයාගේ නමේ පළවෙනිම අකුර ඔයාට input කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට එක අකුරයි. එක අකුරක් import කරනකොට එක අකුරක් එක වැඩ කරනකොට තමයි අපි මේ character කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. right? එතනදී ඔයාගේ නමේ අකුරක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, simple letter එකක්, capital letter එකක්, එහෙම නැත්නම් number එකක්. දැන් number එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒ number එකේ numeric value එක consider කරන්නේ නැහැ. example එකක් විදිහට number 5 කියන එක අපි character එකක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් අර 5 කියන එක පස් පාරක් මොකක් හරි දෙයක් count කරනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි එතන meaning එක. නිකන් 5 කියන එක. ඒක වචනයක් විදිහට තමයි ගන්නෙ. right? එතකොට ඕකේ තියෙන විශේෂම දේ තමයි අපි character එකක් input කරද්දී character එකක් කියලා පෙන්නන්න, එක අකුරක් කියලා පෙන්නන්න double quotations පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඔන්න ඔය දෙක තමයි string එකේ character එකේ ඔයා තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ වෙනස්කම් දෙක. ඊට පස්සේ අපි බලමු අපි numbers එක වැඩ කරනකොට අපිට හම්බෙන data types. දැන් ඔයා numbers එක වැඩ කරනකොට numbers වලට අදාළ data types කීපයක් තියෙනවා. examples විදිහට ගත්තොත් integer, float, double, එතකොට short ඔක්කොම numbers එක වැඩ කරන්නේ. හැබැයි මම ඔයාට ගත්තේ ඔකෙන් දෙකයි. integer එකයි float එකයි. right? දැන් integers කියන්නේ ළමයි අපි whole numbers කියලා කියන්නේ මොකොත් දශම ස්ථාන නැහැ, භාග, දශම කිසි දෙයක් නැති full numbers. ඔන්න ඔයාට තමයි අපි integers කියලා කියන්නේ. ඔයා මොකක් හරි count එකක් ගන්නකොට ඊට පස්සේ quantity එකක් check කරනකොට ඔයාට ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට මේ integer type එකේ values තමයි එන්නේ. right? දැන් අපි example එකක් ගමු. class එකේ ඉන්න students ලා දැන් භාග ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලා නෑනේ ඔක්කොම ඉන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයි. එතකොට 25 30 ඒ වගේ කවුන්ට් එකක් අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒ වගේ ඒවාට අපි ඉන්ටිජර් කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඊළඟට numbers එක තියෙන වැඩිපුරම පාවිච්චි කරන එක තමයි float. දැන් float කියන්නේ integer එකේ අනිත් පැත්ත. Wherever you want to work with decimal points numbers, you can use float for that. decimal points numbers වලට දශම ස්ථානත් එක්ක තියෙන numbers වලට අපිට මේ float කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔයා කාගේ හරි උස, බර, measurement එකක් ගන්නවා නම් float කියන එක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්න වෙන්නේ. මොකක් හරි ගාණක් ඇහුවොත්, price එකක් ඇහුවොත් සත ගණන් අපි ගන්නේ දශම ස්ථාන විදියට. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකදී ඔයා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වැඩ කරන්නේ float කියන number එකත් එක්ක. right data type එකත් එක්ක. දැන් මේක දෙකේ තියෙන වෙනස තමයි integer පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ full numbers, whole numbers වලට. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ whole number එක negative වුණත්, positive වුණත්, zero වුණත් අපි ඒකට integer එක තමයි ගන්නෙ. හැබැයි float එකක් නම් ඕනම දශම ස්ථානයක් අපිට float number එකකින් represent කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ පාවිච්චි කරන අනිත් එක තමයි boolean. boolean කියන්නේ yes no. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි true false කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් circuit එකක් ගත්තොත් circuit එකක කියන්නේ yes no කියන එක විතරයි දෙන්නේ. light on off කියන එකනේ. ඒ වගේ options දෙකක් තියෙන තැන්වල. දැන් ඔය සමහරලාට දැකලා ඇති සමහර websites වල වාගෙන් අහනවා do you want to continue or not? options දෙකයි. yes no කියන options දෙක විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ options දෙකකදී ඔයා boolean කියන එක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. data type එක boolean. හැබැයි ඒකේ values දෙක වෙන්නේ yes no. ඒ values දෙක විතරයි ඒකට තියෙන්නේ. දැන් අනිත් ඒවාට ඇති වෙන්න values තියෙනවා. දැන් numbers කිව්වහම numbers වලට ඕන තරම් values වාට assign කර කර බලන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මේකෙදි අපිට තියෙන්නේ දෙකයි. ඒ තමයි එක්ක yes එක්ක no. right? So either yes or no. right? So that is about data type. So this is like a quick, any questions? Hello? Any questions? Right. So now this is a kind of quick review to understand data types. Please go through this and understand first. Right. So to check your understanding about these data types, you can quickly do this activity. Then I will move to the next PPT. So here you have some incident. For final exam also, I will give something like this and ask you to pick the correct data type. First do this by yourself, then I will discuss the answers.
Madam Teruan Saranai.
Oh, Swamin Wahansa.
Madam, okay, මේ presentation එක අපේ group එකට දානවද නැත්නම්
මම කලින් කියන්නේ දැන් පටන් ගත්ත presentation එකේ ඉඳන් presentation 3ක් දැන් chat එකට දැම්මා. මේ Zoom chat එකට මම ඊටු ඒවත් දාන ඔක්කොම chat එකට. ඊට පස්සේ session එක ඉවර වෙලා මම මේ ඔක්කොම PowerPoints ටික coordinator ට දෙනවා. තත්සරණි මිස්ට. එතකොට තත්සරණි මිස්ගෙන් ඕනනම් WhatsApp group එකකට share කරන්න කියලා ඉල්ල ගන්න පුළුවන්. මම තත්සරණි මිස්ට එහෙම වුණොත් කියන්නම් WhatsApp group එකටත් share කරන්න කියලා.
ඒක හොඳයි මැඩම්. මම මේ පිබිල යනවා මැඩම් මගේ ඉන්නේ.
ආහ්.
මම දැන් ලෙක්චර් එකේ මං හිටියා. අර
හරි.
බැටරි චුට්ටක්
හරි. මං එහෙම වුණොත් ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මම තත්සරණිට කියන්නම් presentations ටික ඔක්කොම WhatsApp group එකට දාන්න කියලා.
අයිම.
ඔව් මං එහෙම කියන්නම්.
පුළුවන් නම් මැඩම් දැන් chat එකට දාන්න පුළුවන් නම් මට පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක copy down කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
හරි. මං chat එකට දාන්නම් one by one දානවා. ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
මැඩම්.
Right, so quickly do this and check whether you all have that understanding about data types. These are the answers. So if it is a person's email address, it is string type. දැන් කාගේ හරි email address එකක් කියන්නේ ඒකේ data type එක වෙන්නේ string. ඇයි මම string කියන data type එක suggest කරන්නේ? මොකද email address එක ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට තියෙන්නේ නම් වචන. numbers උත් පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒ number එකේ numeric value එකක් නැහැ. දැන් අපි ගමුකෝ කෙනෙක්ගේ email address එක nimal 7@gmail.com. දැන් නිමල් කියන්නේ යාගේ නම. එතන අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වචනයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යෙන් string තමයි data type එක විදියට ගන්න ඕනේ. 7 කියන එක තිබ්බට ඒ 7 කියන එකට meaning එකක් නැහැ. numeric value එකක් නැහැ. නිකන් අර නමට පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන හින්දා තමයි ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. email address එකක් නම් අපි හැමතිස්සෙම මේක string type එකේ data විදියට තමයි ගන්නෙ. ඊට පස්සේ the number of student in a class. ඒ කියන්නේ class එකක ඉන්න studentsලා number එක count එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාට දැන් මේ class එකේ ළමයි 10ක් ඉන්නවා නම් ඒක full number එකක්. whole number එකක්. So we take it as an integer. And then the price of a product. price එකක හැමතිස්සෙම decimal points තියෙනවා. decimal points තියෙන number එකක් නම් අපි ඒකට කියනවා float කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ whether a user is active. user active ද නැද්ද කියලා බලන්න ඔයා හැමතිස්සෙම yes no කියන දෙකෙන් එකක් තමයි ගන්න. whether active or no. And a single letter grade it is cha. So this is the lesson. Let me upload it to chat. Right. So this is regarding data types. And then the next thing you need to focus is keyword and operators. So these are theory lessons you need to understand before you do practicals. So keywords are the words we used in our code. So these keywords usually given by the language. So if it is given by the language, you don't have permission to change them. So you have to write as it is given in the spec. For an example, if it is void, all letters should be simple. So you can't change capital simple here and there because Java is case sensitive. So what you mean by a case sensitive? So it means the Java compiled lowercase letters as completely different characters, both lowercase and uppercase, right? So then if you change these capital simple in your code, definitely they will generate errors. And these are some keywords, reserved keywords in Java. To introduce data types, we use int, double, boolean, char. To flow control, we use if, else, for, while. And then for modifiers, we use public, private, static, void. And then for others, we use new, class, return. So like that, we have so many keywords in the subject. So we use all these things when we do codes. And then we have another important thing called operators. So wherever we work with some calculations, numbers, we need these operators. So we have two types of operators, arithmetic operators and logical operators. So what are arithmetic operators? All operators we need to do calculations to plus, subtract, multiply, divide. To do all these things, we use these arithmetic operators. For an example, let's say you need to do addition. So addition in the sense you need to add two numbers together, two or more. To do that, you need this addition. And then if you need to minus, you use this like this. So you can use these things when you do arithmetic operators. So we did some examples and then we discussed about logical operators. So logical operators are the second type of operators. When you have a situation to do like logical comparison, to check both sides are equal, to check both sides are working, to do those kind of things, to check logical things, we use logical operators. So it is about keywords and operators. So these are very easy lessons, but we have some practical things to understand with all those things. Right. So then we discuss about the conditional statements. So conditional statements we use wherever we have decisions, right? So if we want to make a decision, we use these kind of conditional statements. So for an example, if it is raining, take an umbrella. So we take an umbrella only if it is raining. So based on this condition, this action will depend. And if the user is logging, show the dashboard. So what we ask here, we ask to show the dashboard only if the user is logging, right? So if only this happen, the second thing will happen. And then if the score is 100, printed, you win. So we print you win only if the score is 100. So based on the first condition, it will depend the action. So like that, we work with decision making. And then to handle this decision making, we have something called if else. So in this particular example, you can see we consider only what happened if only this condition is true. And we don't know, we are not going to do anything if this condition falls. So like that, if you only consider the yes path or the true path, then you use something called if. And if you want to consider both yes, no, you use something called if else, right? And if you want to work with more conditions, multiple conditions, you use something called else if, right? And then if it is logical operators, we can use all these logical operators inside it. So I will do a small practical session to do. So that is why I quickly finish this. And then let's check the next thing y'all need to consider. It is switch case statement, right? So switch case statement is very important wherever we need to handle like multiple conditions, especially more than 3 conditions we use for switch case statement. So here, this is how we developed it. First, we write the word switch, and within bracket, we write the expression, and then we have some conditions to check. So this is what we call as switch case statement. So I will show you an example to understand this, right? So I have given you a few questions to do. So that is switch case statement. Right, and we have, I think, one more lesson. No, I think we all discussed. Let me check all PPTs are there, data types, conditional statements. Switch case, right. Right. So now we are going to discuss the paper structure, right? So let me share new file. Yeah. So this is previous one, right? So you also can grab a pen and paper and you can get ready to note down the areas that I highlight for your final exam. Right. So let's discuss about the paper structure. So here, same as the previous module. So the duration given for your final exam is 2 hours. So you will receive 2 hours to complete your paper. Let me, duration, it is 2 hours. And then this paper also consists 3 parts, same as the previous paper. Part 1, then part 2, part 3. So these are the 3 parts consist in the paper. So if we discuss part 1 first, so as I told you, part 1 is MCQ type questions. So you will receive 10 MCQ questions. The marks given is 2 for each. And then in total, you receive 20 marks for part 1. So with this, I will explain what are the areas you should focus for part 1. Sorry. Right. So here, please go through objects. Because as I told you, in this object-oriented concept, we focus these things. We consider these principles. Please go through objects. What are objects? And the main idea, the behind, the behind meaning, all these things you should understand under object. Please go through definition. And then some practical related things also will test with this MCQ part. So here, please go through the function used to print something on the screen, right? So now can someone tell me what is the function you use to print something on the screen? Because we did this several times. System.out println. So this is what we use to print something on the screen. And then please go through the data types. As I told you, you should have that understanding about integers, char data type, string, and so you should have the understanding about these 4 data types in order to give some correct answers for MCQ questions. And then if you remember, we have discussed something related to objects. So with that object, I told you, we use a keyword to create new objects. The keyword used to create new object. So if it is new object, we always use the keyword new, because we need to tell the computer we are working with new object. We are working with new things. So how you tell that? We use the keyword new for that. අපි හැමතිස්සෙම මේකට පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ new කියන keyword එක. Right. And then you should understand how to declare a variable. In the PPT also I discussed the correct way to declare a variable is first you should type whatever the data type. And then you can give the variable, then equal, you can assign a value. So if I give you an example for this, right? So let's take int, I should be capital. And then you can take whatever the variable. If you work with age, and then if age is 45, you can declare variable like this. So this is the variable. Age is the variable name. And here we have the data type. This is the value. And you should have that understanding to answer some questions in MCQ. And then you should understand few features of Java, like what is platform independence, those understanding should be there. So platform independence is the code can run on different operating system without any issue. So we called it as platform independence. So please go through some commands we use to do compilation and execution. So if you want to compile the code, you use Java-C. And if you want to translate the code, you use Java. So those are two popular commands we use to compile and Java. So please go through these things to write answers for MCQ. And then let's take part 2. So part 2 is short answer type. So I will give you 6 questions. So you can write any 5. You can write answers for any 5. So 4 for each. 4 into 5, you will receive 20 marks out of 100 for part 2. So let's see what are the areas you need to focus for part 2. So you should be able to explain the object-oriented programming concept. So that is really important because without understanding that concept, no point of studying this subject. And you should be able to list or explain 4 pillars of OOP. And then differentiate structured, unstructured, and OOP. What is structured programming, what is unstructured programming, and what is OOP. So that understanding should be there. And then you should be able to define a class, object, method. So that knowledge should be there. And then you should be able to list or explain, briefly explain features of Java. And then yeah, so those are the things you should focus for part 2. So let's quickly go to part 3. So part 3, it is essay type questions. So you will receive 6 questions and you have to answer any 4. Right. So here 15 for each, 15 into 4, 60 marks out of 100 for this part. So now in this part, I ask only practical questions. So no theories, only practicals. You have to write the code for all these things. So please get ready with these things. Java program to write your name, age, and first letter of your name. So that should be there. So you should be able to write a Java program to display your name, age, and first letter of your name, right? And then Java program to take 2 numbers from user and do a small calculation like addition. So you should be able to take 2 numbers from user and then do a small calculation. And then Java program to check given number is larger than 0. So here you should be able to handle if condition. So you can take a number or inside the code also you can define. In there you should be able to understand that number is larger than 0. So you have to check a condition. And Java program to print days according to numbers from 1 to 7. So to do this, we use switch case statement. So we use switch case here, and then we use if else, and here we use scanner. So those are the things you should be able to practice before the final exam. Yeah, there's a question in the chat. Yeah, so if I ask you to take two numbers, so it always tells that you need to ask two numbers from user. You should display the question like enter your first number and take the very first number. And then enter your second number, take the second number, and then do the calculation. So if I ask you to take two numbers, it always shows you need to take numbers from user, not define it inside the code, right? So I will do some example codes for these things. Then you can refresh your knowledge with this, right? So this is the exam structure. And these are the things I'm going to do. So you can note down all these things at the same time. I will upload this to chat. Then leisurely all can refer this before the final exam. Right? Right, finish. So shall we do some practicals? I just wanted to refresh your practical knowledge. So let me start a file. So if you are doing practicals with me, then you all can open Notepad++ and start a new file. And then save as. So let's take this as revision Q1. So this is the name and then file type. So we are going to save this as Java source file, right? So now whatever the question I ask you in the final exam, you should write it in a proper way, right? First, you should write the class. Inside the class, you should write the main method. So if it is the class word should be simple, all simple. And then you can give a name for the class. So here, in this particular application, we need to give the same name we given for the file. So like that, you can give whatever the name for the class. And then you should open round curly brackets. So inside this curly bracket, you should write the main method. So how you write the main method? Public static void main. Then string args. So this is main method. So all these words, letters should be simple from here to here. And here in the word string, S should be capital and all other words are simple. So these are the two things you should include in your answer. So here you should start your code with the class. So without class, don't write anything. So I will reduce marks for that. Because class is where you should start the code. Inside a class, we write the main method. Inside the main method, we develop the code. So now inside this space, inside this main method, you can write whatever the code you want. So now let's assume you want to type something or you want to print something on the screen like your name, age, address, those kind of things. So whatever the thing, if you want to print on the screen, you should use this statement or we call this as function. System.out.println. So this is what we use to print something on the screen. So where you include the printing thing, so inside this round bracket, you can print. So now based on the thing that we are going to include in this round bracket, you should be able to use double quotation, single quotation or without it. If it is a number, no need to put anything. If it is a number like this, 45, 100, whatever the number, no need to put double quotations or single quotations because your computer is a machine. Your computer can understand these numbers because these numbers doesn't have any meanings, hidden values. It is a count. So your computer can understand numbers. So for numbers, no need to put either double quotations or single quotations. And then if you type your name, you know it contains more than one letter. If it is more than one letter, we should write the name or the word in between double quotations. So let's type your name. And then if you print single letter, either capital, simple, symbol or whatever the thing, you should write in between single quotations. So these are the three things you should consider when you print something on the screen. So now in the question paper, if I ask you to print something on the screen, so you should be able to write system.out.println at the very first. And then inside round bracket, you should put what is you are going to print on the screen. So in this case, I want to print my name, age, and first letter of my name. So for that, you can use double quotation, single quotation according to the content that we are going to type. And then you can save this. So this is the full code I need for the answer, right? So this is the full code I need, right? So now to give you the, show you the output, I will show you the output. Let me open the command prompt. First, you need to change the path, and then you need to compile. To compile, we use Java-C. With Java-C, we type the file name. So the file name is this one, revision .java. So then you can translate it to zeros and ones. You can see the answers. 45, Nishadi, N. So these are my details. So these are the things I want to display. So you can write down this code in a piece of paper because you should practice this before the final exam, and I will give you this in the chat too. Quickly write down this because we have few more codes to practice. Right, finish. So we can quickly start the next code. So I will use the same file. So if you want, you can start a new one. So now with the second code, I'm going to introduce the data types because I have discussed that we need that understanding to use different data types in the code. For an example, let's say we want to work with some quantities, whole numbers. So wherever you want to work with whole numbers, quantities, you should use the data type as int. And then you need to create a variable for that. So let's take a variable called ABC. As the variable, you can give whatever the name you want as a single word. And then you can pass a value to this variable. So let's say 45. So once you do something like this, your computer will create a container like this and then name it using ABC. This is the label, right? And then to this container, it put 45 and they limit only integers to put this in a container, which means we can put only integers to this container. Container name is ABC. At the moment, we have 45 inside this. So this is how we declare variables in code. So let's say you're working with string. For string also, you can do the same thing. So if it is a name, you can write your name, right? So now this is the variable name. This is the data type. And here we have the value. So without a value also, we can keep these data types. And then let's take float. So if you have a measurement, if you have a currency, those kind of things with decimal points numbers, you can use float as the data type. So let's take this kind of, so let's take single letter, is it? In this case, I'm going to give 45.50. And here only for float, you should type capital F at the end. And then the next variable, let's take char. A. And here I'm going to assign simple y. So here, this is how we assign values. If it is a number, and especially if it is an integer, no need to put anything. Either double quotation, symbol quotation, or anything. But if it is a float number, decimal point number, then you should put F at the end. And if it is a word, we should use double quotations. If it is a character, we use single quotations. So that is how we develop these kind of things. And if it is Boolean, we take true, false, either true or false. So this is how we declare different data types. So we call these as variables. So now why we do these things? Because wherever we want, we can use these variables instead of this value. So now you may think, what's the point of doing this? So we can directly type the value name. No. We can directly type the value, that statement is correct, but let's assume a situation something like this. You want to print 45,000 times on the screen, 1,000. So if it is 1,000, you should write system.out.println 1,000 times on the screen. So it's really difficult. So let's see however you did that, however you wrote 1,000 times on the screen. But later someone asked you to change 45 to 55. And now you have to remove all these numbers 1,000 times and again you have to type that. It's really difficult. But here, if you use this variable, it is very easy. So how you do? System.out println. You can take this variable name inside here. Because we already assigned the values, given the data type and all. So now we can, if you want to change the value, the only place you need to change is here. No need to change it 1,000 times. Like that, you can print all others to check the output. Let's take this. So when you print these variables, it always show the value it hold, not this variable name. Is it? Right. So this is how we show that, right? So here we have these things and we are going to show all these things on the screen. So now what happen if you put double quotations here? So if you put double quotation, it doesn't care about the meaning. It just print ABC on the screen. But here we need to print the value it hold, not the variable name, not ABC. So what you can do is you can take this variable and you can print it on the screen. Right. Let's see the output. So you can see the output. 55, Nishadi, 45.5, Y true. So these are the values it hold, right? So how you can do is you can take those variables and you can pass values to it and you can print them on the screen. Right. So now quickly write down this and then I will do another example using small calculation with some user inputs. Yeah, so there's a question in the chat. Yeah, so if I ask you to write your details on the screen, then you should use this method. You can use just system.out.println, and inside round brackets, you can include your name, age, whatever the thing I asked to display. But if I ask you to use some variables to assign values and then use those variables to print the screen, you should follow this method. And in the question, I will ask it very clearly. If I ask you something related to variables, then you should write this answer. And if I ask you to display your things on the screen, then you can use this method, right? In the question, I will ask it clear. Right. So let's quickly do a small calculation with user inputs. So now in this code, in the third code, we are going to, if you want, I can give you the code. Yeah, the code is here in the chat. So now in this case, I'm going to teach you how to take user inputs, how you should take user inputs to a particular code, right? So now if it is user input, we need to import a package for that. So we have a package to deal with user input. So we call that package as scanner. So how you import that? Import Java util scanner. So this is how import the package. Package එක import කරන්නේ මේ විදිහට. Scanner තමයි package එකේ නම. ඔයාට user ගෙන් inputs ගන්න ඕන නම් ඔයා මුලින්ම කරන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේක import කරන එක. දෙවෙනි එක තමයි main method එක ඇතුලේ you should create an object to this particular package. So how we do that? You can copy the package name, and then you can give a name for the object. So in this case, we are going to create an object. I'm going to take ABC. And then you can type new, again the package name, within brackets you can type system.in. I'm just checking some of your answers. Excellent. So Niluka Jayawardena, so she nicely done the code. Excellent. Right. So I'm just typing this. So here, this is how you create an object to this particular package. So here we have the package. So as soon as you import it, you need to create an object for this. So in this case, I'm going to create ABC as the object. It is the object name, and this is the package, and this is how we do that. And then now you need to ask a question from user before you do the calculation. Before you take an input, you should display a question. So then they will enter something to the question. With that, you can develop the code. So how we display a question on the screen? You should write system.out println, and here you can write the question. So I'm going to write enter first number. Then they know they should enter a number. So now after this question, we should display an empty line to type their number. So how we do that? We take this, the object name, put a dot, and then next, because we are going to empty the next line. So now after next, you need to think about what will be the output that I'm going to take. What is the expected output? So here we are going to ask them a number. So if it is a number, you can take int as the data type. So this is how we create that empty line. And then you can show the second question. System.out println. So the second question is enter second number. So now we are going to ask to enter their second number. So to this question also we need to take the user input. So it also an integer. You can follow the same thing. Right. So now we already asked two questions and we created that empty line to type their numbers. So now you need to do a calculation. So you need to take this number and you need to add this number to this number. So that is what we need to do here. It's easy if we pass this value to a variable like this. So now this is where your user type their value. And then we pass that value to this variable. X hold that value. Wherever you show X, it means that value. So here user type the second value here. We pass that value to Y. So now you are going to add these two. X plus Y. And then you can take another variable like total or whatever the variable you can take, you can pass this value to this variable. So let's assume user type number 5 here. So then they pass value that pass to X. Wherever you use X, it is number 5. Then here user type number 6. So it pass that value to Y. Wherever you use Y, it replace 6. And then 5 plus 6, it's 11. It will pass the value to total. Right? So this is how we use variable and pass values with variable. Right? So now you need to print the output. So how you do that? System.out println. If you take this inside this, then it automatically display the value. So I will tell you how to work this. So now we ask this question, enter first number. So let's assume user type number 6 here, right? On this page, user type number 6. We pass number 6 to X. So now X hold number 6. Wherever we see X, it is not X, it is number 6. And then for second number, user enters 7. And then we pass that value to Y. Wherever we have Y, it is not say Y, it is 7. So now you add these two. 6 plus 7, 13. So you add these two because we have the operator here. Your computer know what to do. Then we pass that value to this variable. And then we take it to this system.out println and it will print the value nicely. Right. So let's see the output. There's an error. in line 20, verse 20. I forget this. Right, so let's see it. Okay. Yeah, enter first number. Let's enter 5. Enter second number. Let's enter 4, 9. So this is the answer. So like that, you can create a small code to do this thing. Right. So I will give you the code. Right. So quickly write this. Then we will move to next. Finish. Right. So now I'm going to discuss how to use if else, because that knowledge also should be tested in your final exam. So why we use if else where we have conditions to check. So how we start if? First we write the word if, then round brackets, then we put curly brackets. Then we write F else if we need to concern the else side. So let's take a small condition. So first of all, you need to initialize the value. So let's take an integer. it is 5. So we are going to check this number is greater than 5. So here we are going to check A is greater than 5. So now what you are going to do if A is greater than 5? So if A is greater than 5, I'm going to print A is greater than 5. So this is what I'm going to do. And if it is not greater than 5, I'm going to print A is less than 5 like this. So very simple. So how this work? So first we took a variable called A. The value of A is 5. So wherever we see A, it is 5. So now here A is 5. We check. 5 is greater than 5. Is this correct? No, this is not correct. 5 is less than 5. So if it is incorrect, it will pass this and go to else because this condition is false. If only this condition is false, it has the permission to go inside and do this thing. But here this condition is false. So it pass this curly bracket and go to this else. And then it perform this one. So like that, if condition will work. Let me show you the output. Right? Mm. Right. I think I forgot to save that. Right. So A is less than 5 because your computer know the given number is less than 5. So if we change this to this, it will gives you the other way around. A is less than 5. So like that, you can nicely do the code, right? So this is how we work with if-else condition. So, and the next thing I want to teach you is switch case statement. So wherever we have multiple conditions to check, especially more than 3, then we use something called switch case statement, right? So let's take something like this, switch, right? So this is how we develop switch case statement. So now you ask user to enter a number in between 1 to 7. No need to implement that. Just assume like that. Number from 1 to 7. If it is number from 1 to 7, you need to check all conditions from 1 to 7. Altogether we have 7 conditions. If your user type number 1, you are going to print Monday. If you are user print number 2, you are going to print Tuesday. If you are user type number 3, you are going to print Wednesday. Like that, you are going to print the day according to the given number. So let's assume we take a variable. This is the user entered number. It is 5, right? So now we need to develop all cases for all these values. 1, and then case 2, then case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6, case 7. Right. So now these are the cases. So these are the number you consider. So this is the data. So if you ask them a number, you should replace that number here. If you ask a word, you should replace that word here. Right. So now what you are going to do if the number is 1, then you are going to print Monday. Right. So if, right. And if it is number 2, you are going to print Tuesday. If it is number 3, you are going to print Wednesday. If it is number 4, you are going to print Thursday. If it is Saturday, right? Then if it is number 7, you can take Sunday. So if your user enter 1, you print Monday. If the number is 2, you print Tuesday. If number is 3, you print Wednesday. So after all these cases, you should type break. Why? If the given number is 1, then no need to check other conditions. No need to waste time to check other conditions. So if the given number is 3, so no need to check after that, right? And you can take something called default. So we use default whenever we need to handle like uh, invalid options if user type something beyond the range. So you can just print invalid input. Please try again later. Right? So like that. So let's check the answer. So now the given number is number 5. So Friday should be on the screen. Friday. So you can see the answer is Friday. So how it works actually? So first it check the value this hold. So this hold number 5. So it will take number 5 into this round bracket. So now A is number 5. So now we check all these cases for number 5. So if it is number 1, we don't have permission to go inside and print this because it is not number 1, it is number 5. Then we check this, it is 2. Then we check this, it is 3. Then we check this, it is 4. Then we check this, it is 5. So we found the number. So then it has the permission to go inside and print this. So it will print Friday on the screen. We already found the number. Then no need to execute after that. So we do break. Right. So that is how this works. Right. So quickly write down the code. finish. Right. I already given all those recordings to your coordinator. So both for switch case statement and if else statement, is it available? So if it is not available, please let me know then because you should go through before the final exam. But last week also I did something related to if else, isn't it?
No, ma'am, the example what you did just now, ma'am, the coding of that. If else statement coding, ma'am.
All right. So coding you asked. Right. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, let me check that. Right. So please copy all these codes and paste it on a Word document or wherever you want, because if you practice these codes, then definitely you can answer a final exam paper, because I given like 5 or 6 questions. All questions are the same format. So if you practice these things, then definitely you will be able to do those questions. Right. So any questions from your side? No, it seems no. Right. So if you don't have any questions to clarify, then we can wind up the session. So with this, we will finish our lecture series. Yeah, Manisha?
Yes, ma'am. CAT examination, we requested them to have it during the week, ma'am. One day during the week. So that also would be based on these things, no, ma'am?
Yeah.
CAT
So,
exam.
yes, CAT exam. Let me go through it quickly so we have time. Yeah, so whatever the convenient time you can inform to a coordinator, and you can ask coordinator to arrange it. So if I quickly go through the CAT exam, let me open it. Right. So it's very simple question paper. 25 MCQs are there. So please go through what stand for OOP. You know it is object oriented programming. And then you should be able to define a class. What is a class? So you know class is we called as class is a blueprint for creating objects. So we can consider it is like mold that we use to create objects. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි class එකක් ගත්තොත් students ලා ඔක්කොම එක වගේනේ. ඉතින් එතකොට අපි කියන එක mold එකක්. ඒ mold එකට දාලා අපි එකම විදියට produce කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. class එක කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ දෙයක්. So then you should be able to define what are objects. So objects are like instance of classes, one incident in a class. And then if you want to define a class in your particular code, what is the keyword you use? If you want to define a class in a code, you use the word class. or අලුතෙන් class එකක් create කරන්න ඕන නම් ඔයා class කියන word එක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. And if you want to create a new object, so to new object, we always use the keyword new. අලුතෙන් මොකක් හරි හදනවා නම් object එකක් වගේ දෙයක් new කියන එක පෙන්වන්න හැමතිස්සෙම new කියන word එක තමයි දෙන්නේ. So if I show you if I ask you to select the correct statement to print hi on the screen, so then how you write it? System.out print ln and then the message. So if it is a word, you should write the message in between double quotations. And then you should be able to understand the 5 data types. I discussed about 5 data types: integer, float, string, Boolean, those type data types. So please go through that. And you should be able to select the correct set of 4 pillars of OOP. So 4 pillars are inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. And you should be able to select the package we use to take user input. So if you want to take user input, we use scanner. And you should be able to define how you define the main method, right? So if it is main method, it should be public, static, void main. So this is how we define the main method. And yeah. Yes, so those are the things I put in your CAT exam. And please check another small thing, that how you do calculations with with 2 types of data. For an example, if you have a 25 and 32, how we are going to calculate it? So you can take system.out print ln, and inside this you can type 32 plus whatever the number. Let's take 25 like this. So please try to understand this calculation. So there'll be a small MCQ question related to that. Yeah, so those are the things. Please go through data types. Some additional questions there from data type. So I will give you some values and then you have to pick the correct data type. Please go through the 4 principles, 4 pillars of object-oriented programming, encapsulation, those things individually. Some other MCQ questions are there related to that, right? So if you want, I can paste this in the chat. So I need to give the attendance sheet, students. Yeah. So let me give it to you. Right. So I have given the link to mark your attendance. Please mark your attendance before you leave. Right. So with this, thank you, Manisha, for your feedback. So with this, we are going to wind up the session. And with this, we are going to finish our lecture series. So you know, OOP is not easy, but I tried to give that content as simple because I don't want to make these things complicated. So still you're learning these things. So for your future, you can do higher studies related to those things and you can understand those things. So thank you for participating and interacting with me because you know I have that experience working with non-IT students. But y'all are not like that, so y'all engaged, you did coding and very interactive student, and I'm happy and I'm really proud to um, stay with you all. So, and good luck for your future. Good luck for the final exam. Please refer all these recordings, PPTs, and go through my revision recordings and do your exam level best. So, goodbye and have a nice week for all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. You too.
Thank you, madam.